Okay, just bung on that we're sort of talking.
Yeah.
Okay.
Good day.
Ladies and gentlemen, good afternoon. This is John Wilson, National Spokesman for the Freedom Union of Australia. Today, ladies and gentlemen, I'm in Atherton in far north Queensland, up on the Atherton tablelands. I managed to get a lift up in a light aircraft, a little 3-seat light aircraft, and that took us a couple of hours to fly up from down south. And I'm here at an aircraft hangar, and with me today, ladies and gentlemen, I've got a real favourite. I've got a guy called Len Harris. Len is an ex-senator here in Queensland. He's made a great contribution into the body politic, and today Len and I are going to be interviewing and speaking about these local councils throughout Queensland. We're going to be talking about the Queensland Corporations Act and so on. So, good morning, Len. Thank you for interviewing today, and thank you for appearing on the Freedom Union's broadcast today. Thank you, Len.
Yes, well, thank you very much for the invitation. It's taken us a while to get it together, a little bit like mating elephants, a lot of trumpeting and carrying on, stomping of horns and feet, and takes 24 months to get a result.
Yes.
So, yeah, no, it's an absolute pleasure.
It's a big hike up here, Len. We are from my home base in Brisbane up here. For those overseas members, people who don't know Australia, we're probably, 1,500 kilometres or so away from my home base.
No, you're a minimum of 1,900, say
1,900.
2,000 kilometres.
So nearly 2,000 kilometres.
Yeah.
Como John has travelled since yesterday afternoon. First half by rail up to Rockhampton, and the second half by light aircraft. Len, this is going to be a dynamite interview today. Lots to talk about, but today we're going to focus on some specific stuff. We're going to talk about these local councils. They are really off the leash, aren't they, Len?
Yes, they absolutely are. They are all corporations, and as corporations, they're subject to legislation that actually sets out they can't do what they're doing.
Right, so they're off the leash, acting totally illegally. Now, Len, corporation, how do we know they're a corporation? Is that because they've got an Australian business number and they're registered with ASIC? Is that right?
That is correct.
So there's no arguments about this?
No, none whatsoever. And,
Right.
and also, a lot of people wouldn't be aware, actually, that ASIC itself, the Australian Securities
And Investment
and
Commission?
Investment Commission, under the Federal Corporations Act, actually are authorised to actually administer the Corporations Act.
Right.
And in a few minutes, John will read out to you a section of the Queensland Act. And
Right.
it's
I
very
wanna-
plain, and easy to understand.
Thank you, Len. I want to make sure that we get this nice and neat without any arguments. We know for a fact that all these local councils, now we are talking in Queensland language here, ladies and gentlemen.
Yes.
We are focused here at first on Queensland, but the issues that we are raising with you apply to all states. All states. There might be some differences, but they apply to all states. But we are focusing on Queensland, Len.
Yes, and also the two territories, Northern Territory and the ACT, right? They are actually under the Corporations Act as well.
Okay, so Brother Len, this is what we know. We know for an undisputable fact, because these councils have ABNs, because they're registered on the Australian Securities and Investment register, etc. We know they're corporations. So there's no argument about this.
No, none whatsoever.
Okay, now because they are registered, they are a corporation, what regulates them?
Initially, it is the Commonwealth Corporation Act.
Federal Act.
Federal Act 2001, and the Commonwealth has actually forced the states to mirror the Act to do their dirty work for them.
So we've got state acts, right? Okay, Queensland acts, legislation. We all know that there's a belligerent occupation and there's question marks over all of this, ladies and gentlemen. We know all this, but we're trying to cut to the chase. We have a Queensland Act and in other states, right?
Yes.
Which mirrors the Federal Corporation Act.
Correct.
So there's no arguments about this.
No, none whatsoever.
Okay, so we have councils which are corporations, which have an ABN, which are registered with ASIC and are conducting themselves like a corporation. So
yes,
if it
absolutely.
walks like a corporation, if it talks like a corporation, it's a corporation.
Correct, absolutely.
Now, what are these corporations doing? They're off the leash, Len.
Yes, they absolutely are. What they have done is stepped outside of the entire parliamentary legal system, and they are running exactly the same as Woolworths and Coles.
Okay, and so we all know about price gouging.
Yes.
We all know about how Woolworths and Coles treat ordinary customers. They got no regulations to inhibit them, and so they go off the leash. So we're talking off the leash local councils.
Councils. Absolutely.
Okay, they're throwing people out of their homes. They are hitting them with unreasonable taxes. Now tell me, can a council charge, right, one of these corporations, are they lawfully able to charge a tax, an impost, or a financial burden?
No, they are not.
What stops them, Len? What stops them?
Two words, the words private person. If people have their property actually on the title deed, right, if their names are there, then the councils have no say whatsoever over their property. They have no authority, no jurisdiction, and no power.
Okay.
Their place is actually out on the footpath. That's where their authority stops.
Okay. So then we have right now, not all union members, right? Not all freedom, but I can tell you now, up in the Sunshine Coast hinterlands, under the auspices of the Sunshine Coast Regional Council up there, we have union members which have paper title deeds in their name. Okay?
Yes. And they own that property to the exclusion of all others. What that includes the state government, the local council, your local police, unless they have a Crown warrant to actually enter the property. That the police cannot be used by the councils to intimidate people when attempting to throw them off their property.
We have right now, Len, we've got councils. The Canterbury Council in Sydney is one of them, but we've got the Sunshine Coast Council. They say they have the right to charge you whatever they see fit, right? Okay, all under a bodgy excuse for allegedly providing services, which we know is nonsense, right? But it's a tax, it's an impost, and it's crippling people. And they're saying if you don't pay, we're sending a sheriff around and we're going to evict you out of your own house.
Well, there are two things that stop them doing that. The first one is the very fact that before they can do that, they have had to go to court, get an order from the court and an instruction from the court for their name to be put on the register of Queensland. And this also raises a problem we have in Queensland now, where the Queensland government purports to have the power to cancel all of those Crown titles. They do not. So your name is still on the register, as it should be, right? The council cannot step onto your property. They cannot embargo an asset that's worth several $100,000 for a debt of say $5,000, $10,000 or $15,000. They cannot take the property. The only thing they can do is go to the courts and get the court to issue that a lien, or there are other names for it,
Yep.
can be placed on the title.
Against the property.
Yeah, but it has to be registered on the title.
Okay. And it has to come from a properly constituted court?
Court, exactly.
Not a bodgy court?
No, not a magistrate's court, and it's doubtful even whether the Supreme Court can do that.
Okay.
I know the federal court can, but yes, so...
Okay, Len, I'm gonna take a short break here. This is part one, ladies and gentlemen. We're trying to package this interview up into small, packageable, so that I can manage the data effectively. This is part one. Stay there. We've got a great guest here in Len Harris, and he's very knowledgeable. We're going to come back to you and talk to you further about these councils and the rot that they are inflicting upon the people of Queensland and all of people in Australia. Back shortly. Thank you. Okay.